Hello and welcome to Rising Matchday this Saturday the 18th of September. I'm Owen Evans, looking ahead to tonight's Rising game against Orange County. But first, let's look back to Wednesday night's action at Wild Horse Pass. So Rising kicking off two games at home this week with a match against Las Vegas. Lights coming in torrid form, having failed to pick up a point since their last against Phoenix, which finished a draw. Rising on the board very early, the second minute in fact. Aidan Quinn takes the shot, Alex Rando getting something on it. It trickles back and despite the best efforts of the Vegas defenders, they can't keep it from going in. "16th minute and controversy. Rising's Joey Calistri brought down by Tony Leone. They want a red for denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. Referee Luis Guardia goes yellow instead. After the match, replying to a pool question by saying it wasn't a red as Calistri didn't have a likelihood of keeping or gaining control of the ball. But Leone's foul not ultimately keeping the ball out of the net. Quinn's ball in on the free kick for it is met by the head of Santi Moa, who tucks it away. 2-0 to Rising. Vegas get one back off this free kick. Andre Rolls staying back on his line as it curls in. Julian Vasquez getting credit for the goal. But the lead was soon restored to 2. Arturo Rodriguez with a pretty phenomenal solo effort, picking up the ball, dribbling it into the penalty area and putting more than enough power behind this one to leave Rando helpless. 3-1. One more goal left in this one, and it came to the striker who normally is a midfielder. John Baquero gets his chance in the last 10 minutes, and he takes it, kissing the badge in the celebration.
And when you give that man time, he's going to stick it in the corner and gives USL Championship in
4-1 to Rising in the end. Here's the reaction from after the match.
Stunning performance. David Luera, nice exciting introduction.
They're a very, very young team. They played last Wednesday, Saturday, and now Wednesday. It was 100 degrees at kickoff. The idea was to start as fast as we possibly could, be as aggressive as we could, and I think for some of these young teams, the MLS2 teams, it's difficult, you know, and if you go down early, I mean, they did a good job. They never gave up. They got the set piece. But you could tell in the second half physically, I think we just kind of took over the game. And, you know, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't score more goals, but it is a difficult thing to do in this sport, is to score goals. But I was really pleased with the guys that came in and closed the game off.
Is that the quickest you've ever scored a goal?
I think so, yeah. That was good. That was nice.
And how does that change things then, you know, when you go up so early?
Yeah, it just gives us confidence. It's good to get that early lead, obviously. Gives guys confidence to keep pushing, and glad we got the second. A little disappointed we gave up that goal to them, but Arturo found the third right away, so that was another good confidence boost.
I love this club. I've been here for 3 years. I was very fortunate enough today to be a captain as well. Just emotional, because I've been here for a long time. I love this club, and getting a goal and an assist tonight was very special for me.
In your opinion, Tony Leone in the first half, yellow or red?
I thought it was a red because I think that they said there was a second defender, but he was 40 meters away. I hate that I'm yelling about that, and there are certain things that we get into these games and we're on top of it like this. I think the referees just have to ref the match, and they have to stop thinking about the result. They have to stop thinking about the teams. I felt like, and the fourth official tonight didn't even talk to me. It was a shame, These guys are pros, and when they get yellow cards, they get fined. When they don't score goals or they give up a red card, things like this, it's about money to these guys. And I just sometimes think that the officials, doesn't matter, they'll ref another game next weekend.
So overall, Rising showing yet again that they can outshoot almost any team in this league by quite some margin. And Alex Rando, who impressed so well the last time he came to Wild Horse Pass, pulling off 10 saves. The youngster on Lights' side certainly impressing in his first pro season. One person who stood out on his first home appearance for the club, David Luera, on loan from Orlando City. He was joined by another midfield signing in Jonathan Levin yesterday. But there is one midfielder that we haven't yet seen, Luis Manuel Sejas, who still awaits his visa. Earlier this week, I caught up with Rising coach Juan Guerra to talk about his fellow Venezuelan.
So you had a role, didn't you, in bringing Luis here? Can you tell me about how that move came about?
Yeah, it was interesting because I spoke with him a couple of months ago, and he wasn't sure about his future. He did wanted to come to the United States, and obviously right away, as soon as that happened, I reached out to Rick and I said, Rick, there's this player. I've played with him in the national team, and I played against him when I was in Caracas and he was in Colombia. I know him very well, and it could be a possibility. Obviously, Rick liked them right away, and we all did. But at that moment, we were not looking to bring somebody in right away. And we said kind of like, yes, we like him, and let's just put him kind of like to the side, and let's see what happens, or let's see how things develop. Then I think a month and a half, probably 2 months passed, and we were like, okay, maybe now, because we moved some players went to other teams. You know how it is during the course of the season. Teams transform, teams adapt, teams have to change in order to get to the playoffs at their peak. So we've decided to make a couple of moves and also bringing some players to give us some depth. And we were looking for a midfielder, and his agent reached out again, and Rick came into the office and he asked me, he said, what's Luisma doing? What is he? I said, I don't know. Let's just reach out to him. We gave him a call. He was still available. And that's how it happened. He said, yes, I'm available. I'll be very interested in being with you guys. And we brought him here. We took a look at him for a couple of days, and we decided that this is a player that can come in and will fit into the way we want to play. And he will also fit in what we want in the locker room and what we expect out of every single player from Phoenix Rising. So we're very happy to obviously have him and all the players that we have in the squad.
Obviously, we haven't been able to see him out on the pitch yet. What should the fans expect when he does get out there?
He's a very versatile player, left-footed, technically gifted. He's a leader. He's an organizer. He can help out during build-up moments. He can help out. He has good range of passing. He covers a lot of ground. But also in the attacking third, his vision I think is going to help us a lot. He's going to be able to put players in positions that they can create goal-scoring opportunities. And also with his shooting range, he can help us to probably unlock teams that played on a low block or in a mid block. Sometimes you need that player that can take a shot from distance or can create something that is going to unlock a game for you. And I think Luis is going to be able to add that for us on the playing side of the game. Also, we see the game in many different ways, and also as a mental aspect or the learning aspect or the human aspect of the game. And I think he's going to add in that as well, which is in the locker room when he has to talk to the players, when we have young players in the locker room that need advice or need to talk to someone that is not a staff member, or it's probably just a player or a teammate that is there that can help them go through different moments, situations that our young players are going to have to face in the game. I think he's going to be able to help us with that as well.
And do you think that he's settled in well off the field with boys?
Yeah, he's done that. He's been great off the field, in the locker room. I think sometimes you see players that come in and from the playing side, you see how they adapt very quickly and where they're playing. And then sometimes in the locker room, they just don't adapt as well. Other players adapt very well in the locker room, and other times from the playing side, it's hard to adapt. I'll say that with Luis, even with Darren Maddox that just came in, and even David Loera from Orlando, I think these three players came in right away, and they found a way to adapt both ways, on the playing side and in the locker room. And that's exactly what we want. And obviously, when we recruit and when we look at players, we always look at the whole thing. We just don't just only look at one thing, because that for us is very important. At the end of the day, they're representing an organization that we're representing as well, and we must make sure that the players that come in understand that they have to adapt both ways. And that's that. At the end of the day, I think that's the only way to be successful, having players that buy in completely, not just on the playing side, but also in the locker room.
Well, let's take a look now at the rest of the Pacific Division. Just the one other game in midweek, and it was a clash between Oakland and Tacoma at Las Positas. Roots taking the lead within 10 minutes. A botched clearance from the Defiance defence sets up Lindo Mafeka for a fairly straightforward chance. But Tacoma would bring them level. Ray Serrano with an impressive cut inside from the wing, and from a tight angle he sends a rocket into the roof of the net. Only more rockets from there, Oakland restoring their lead thanks to a half volley from Walfal. And into the second half, Fal shrugging off defenders before setting up Mfeka for his second, coming from a pretty tight angle. That's how it would finish in Livermore. Roots 3, Defiance 1. So Roots with that result move up to 5th. Incredible given how poor their start to the season was. Rising extending their lead at the top of the table to 16 points. They could actually seal up a playoff spot as early as Wednesday if results go their way elsewhere, and if they get the win tonight. Both Oakland and Sacramento needing to drop points for that to come true. Let's talk about those fixtures then. Starting at 7 p.m, Oakland hosting LA. At 7:30, Sacramento hosting San Antonio. Tomorrow afternoon, there's a Sunday game at 3 as Tacoma travels to Torero Stadium to face Loyal. Before a couple of midweek 7 p.m. kickoffs, Oakland against San Diego and Tacoma against Sacramento. We're Rising set to take on Orange County tonight at the end of what's been a busy week. But what kind of a challenge does it present to try and fit a week's worth of preparation into just 2 days of training?
Yes, 2 days. It's always good when you win the first 2 games of the week, and then leading up to the third game of the week. Obviously, the players are motivated, the players are happy. But for us right now, it's not so much about the physical aspect. It's more about the mental aspect, right? Leading into that last game in the week is keeping the guys hungry, keeping the guys focused. The guys understanding that last night, it's in the past, we won, it was good, we got the 3 points, but now we have to get hungry again, we have to get focused, and we have to understand who we're going to face and what do we need to do in order to be able to get a result again on Saturday night at home.
Well, OC today, led by Richard Chaplow, he took over the head coaching duties on an interim basis after Braden Cloutier's departure from the club. But what does Rick make of his new counterpart's start to the new role?
Yeah, no, he's changed the team back into kind of more of a 4-3-3 themselves. And I think it's helped them. I think he's playing some of the veterans, which you usually do. Trust me, I've been there. I know as an interim coach, you want to go with the guys that you trust and the guys that you know can get the job done. So he's playing the veterans and he's playing a pretty consistent group. we always knew they were very talented, and I hope that because of their recent success in a 4-3-3 and their ability to open up and get after teams, I hope that he comes here in an aggressive mentality, because that's what we need teams to do, and rather than sit back and defend. But we just have to take each challenge as we face it. And I like Richard. I think Chappie's a good guy, and he's always been very respectful and very kind, and he's played the game at an extremely high level. So I'm happy for him. I hope he does well, except when he plays us.
Well, that's all for this morning. Tonight's game, a 7:30 p.m. kickoff at Wild Horse Pass. Enjoy the match. Goodbye.